Hey guys, Analog Man here for another late night deck profile, and as you can see from the title, this is my first place yellow Rapidmon deck for the BT8 format, and surprisingly, this was actually my first time trying this deck out in a tournament setting, and I feel like I did pretty well with it, honestly. The fact that I got first place with it is pretty crazy. We did only have 2 rounds because we did have 6 people. The decks I did see were another yellow hybrid deck just like mine. Then there was Armor Rush, Black War Greymon, Mastamon, and then one Imperial deck, and then my yellow hybrid. So it was kind of slightly diverse, I would say. My first matchup was against the Armor Rush deck, and surprisingly, I didn't really have that big of an issue with it. I did lose one of the games to him, which is why I went 2-1 against him. But that was mainly due to misplay that I did not know about specific level 6 in my deck, how his mechanic worked. So in game 2, I basically figured it out and I just kind of rushed him and got the game with it. But yeah, let's get into the deck profile so you can see how this deck works. So for the eggs, of course, we're running the 4 Upamons. Upamon is still really solid even in set 8 at the moment. The fact that if you have less security, if you have 3 or less, you can just swing and get an extra draw, which can potentially get you the piece you need. So really solid. And you do have rookies in this deck to finally, evolve onto this deck compared to Yellow Hybrid before where it was only running Bokomons, so really nice. I keep this at 4 specifically because of consistency issues, mainly because right now, as of recording, Bandai still has not confirmed if they're bringing back mulligans and side decks, and I know some people did say, oh, they're not gonna like get rid of it, but the thing is that officially a lot of the big tournaments are not using side decks or mulligans anymore, so we kind of have to go with that rather than just going with what we want to do. So I just err on the side of caution. So I always put 4 eggs, specifically 4 of one egg. That way I don't run into any consistency issues. So anyway, yeah, we only run the 4 Upamons. But yeah, they're really solid, really good, as I said. So we stick with him. Then for rookies, we run exactly 6. We run the 4 Patamons. Patamon, this one's from the starter deck. This one is actually pretty cool because I actually bought the starter deck on a whim. I saw they had like 2 at a locals I went to before, and I said, hey, why not? I'm gonna buy it, and it actually kind of paid off because now I actually have this to help DP reduce. And the cool thing is that when you pop something by DP reduction, you get a memory back. So if you have 3 memory and you do a Rapidmon, you're gonna stay on your turn and you get to swing into security and do damage, which is really cool. Then for the last 2 rookies, we're running 2 Salamons because Salamon is really good for healing. Also, the fact that you can still evolve Rapidmon on top, it's just not as good as Patamon, but the cool thing is that it will help you heal if you're kind of low on security, which is nice. But yeah, that's all the level 3s we run. Really solid. Originally, I was running 3 and 3 of each, but that kind of was a little bit bricky, so I lowered it down to 2 for Salamon because you don't absolutely need her. You need Patamon more, so if you see Patamon, you basically get to set up Rapidmon, so really cool. For level 4s, we're running, of course, the 4 Rapidmons. This guy is the heart and soul of the deck. I originally, funny fact is that I did not really understand his effect originally because how it sounded like from how it sounded, I thought it was more similar to Shine Greymon, where the minus DP would basically stack on top of certain Digimon. Like, let's say they only had 1 Digimon, you could stack the minus 5,000s on them. That's not actually how it works. It basically just taps them or suspends them, and then they all get minus 5,000 and they're weakened. That's why usually through that you can kill something, so you will be going back to 0 no matter what, and then you can use this to basically attack and basically finish off the rest that aren't dead yet. But yeah, aside from that, he's really solid. Plus, he also has armor purge, so he can survive a attack from an opponent. And the fact that you can basically reduce your opponent down to 6,000 and then crash with this to kind of kill it, but he'll survive at the same time, which is really cool. That's yeah. Then for the other level 4s, we're running 3 Kazemon. Originally, I was running 4, but I needed to fit in some other option cards and tamers, so I specifically took out one of this because you don't really want to see this as often. You want to see its other counterpart, Zephyrmon, the Beast Evolution for Kazemon. That one has an actual ability when digivolving, so it's a little bit better than this one. Plus, the other one can evolve on top of her to kind of, help you choke memory essentially, which is cool. Then we're running, of course, the 4 Zephyr Mons I just mentioned. Her effect is really cool because she basically gives plus 3,000 to all your security Digimon, and in conjunction with Zoe, the Tamer, you basically are giving your security plus 6,000, which can potentially push certain Digimon like Susanomon up to 21,000, which can basically kill almost everything at that point, except for maybe some stuff from X Antibody. But yeah, that's all the level 4s we run. We run exactly 11 level 4s. This deck doesn't really need to run any other level 4s aside from this because the whole point of the deck is to just either make this by pushing out a rookie and then removing their board, or just going into this and then going into the level 5, which I'm about to show you, to heal basically. Uh, so for the level 5, we only run one level 5, and that is Jet Sylphie. Jet Sylphie is still the MVP. She heals. She's also really big. She's 7,000. Plus, the fact is that she does help you. As I mentioned, she can heal. After evolving, if you have a hybrid underneath, which you really should have, you basically just do that and you get to heal. So really nice. You run 4 of this, no more, no less. Really solid card. Then for level 6s, we're running 2 Digimon that are we're running 2 level 6s, specifically 2 Ophanimons and 1 Wargreymon. This one is just there to heal and also to reoccur some of the level 4s. But Wargreymon here is to essentially push for game. I actually won both my games tonight, actually because of him, because the fact that when he attacks, he minuses 6,000, you can basically remove you can remove stuff off their board, or if let's say something's already suspended, you can actually make it weaker than a Wargreymon and kill it the next turn, which is really good. Plus, the fact is that when you attack, you get to grab something from the top of your security, and then you can basically attack, then untap, which is really cool. You get an extra attack, and you get to minus DP, which is really powerful. So having one of this, I'm kind of considering maybe putting this to 2, but I feel like 1 should be okay with for now. I might just end up just getting an alternate art just to replace this one. So yeah, really solid. That's all the level 6s we run in the deck. Let's go into the level 7s, which of course we are running just 2 Susanomons because Susanomon's still really busted in this deck. It lets you recycle your deck. It deletes something on evolution, and it has security +2. So next turn, if they don't kill this, you're basically swinging for free security, and they basically can't do anything about it at that point. But yeah, that's all the Digimon in the deck so far. The rest are options and Tamer, so let's actually get into that. And then I'll discuss how this deck honestly felt tonight. We're running 4 Eden's Javelin. Not only does it help you draw, but it also lets you DP reduce your opponent depending on your hand. So if you save most of your hand, you can do minus like 10,000 or more on your opponents most of the time. So it's really nice. Really solid card. Plus, it's also 6 costs, so it's not as bad to play, honestly. You just pass them to 3 if you have 3, so really nice. Then 3 Wyvern's Breath. Originally, I was running 4, but as I mentioned before, I had to make room. So reducing this down from 4 to 3 doesn't really hurt as much. You still see this consistently in your security and in your hand, so it's really nice. And this card just hard destroys a lot of things, so I love keeping this in the deck. Then we're running 2 Yellow Memory Boost. I finally managed to get the alternate arts for this, so I'm really happy to be able to run this version. This is still really good, helps you get 2 memory, and it lets you search out your deck, so you have to at least run 2. And then for the last option, we're still running 1 Reinforcing Memory Boost because this card is still really busted to this day. Really sucks that it got limited to 1, but that's just how it is, and I just love having this card because it does give you 3 memory instead of 2, so it kind of pays for itself next turn, so really nice. That's all the options we run. We run exactly, let's see, 7, 8, 9, 10. Normally, yellow hybrids do run a little bit more, but I feel like with this kind of build, you can run a little bit less because you just have so much removal in the form of Rapidmon that you don't really need these as much, so it's fine. For Tamers, we're running exactly 14 Tamers, which is about the par for yellow hybrid. Usually run like 12, maybe 13. This is just a little bit more because you want to see more Tamers to set up Rapidmon. I actually, a lot of my turns against Imperial, I was just passing to 1 with basically a Tamer, like a Cody or maybe one of the memory boosts, and I just kept doing that. And then next turn, when they actually brought out their board with like the dragon mode, basically, I just wiped their board and killed the dragon mode the next turn. So really nice. But anyway, for Tamers, we're running 4 TKs because TK not only is a memory setter, but he can also search your security. And if you grab a yellow card, you can heal. But you can also grab any other color. It's just you just don't get the heal. But usually this deck is mostly yellow, aside from the Susanomon, and yeah, that's about it. So if you grab anything else, you're just guaranteed the heal basically, which is really nice. Then we run 4 AA Zoes because Zoe's still really overpowered. The fact that she can just search anything hybrid is really powerful, or 10 Warrior, which is really cool. Then we run 4 of the new Tamer Cody. Cody is really busted, honestly. Like the fact that not only does he give you an extra memory on your main phase if you have a yellow Digimon, but if when you're attacking with a dual color, in that case Rapidmon, you basically get to do an extra minus 2,000. So if you already DP reduced down, let's say like a big level 6 down to like 6,000, which is the same as Rapidmon, you can swing, tap this, and then do an extra minus, and you can kill it without killing your Rapidmon, which is really nice. Then for the last 2 Tamers, we run the 2 TK Inkaris. Originally, I was running more. I was actually running 3 to 4, but it was kind of bricking the deck, so I took out 2 of them. And I feel this one works a little bit better now because that way you see this, but you don't see it consistently. And it's there to help you get that extra minus 1,000 when attacking. And of course, if you have fewer security than your opponent, you get an extra 2 memory, which can really help out in certain matchups, especially like Imperial because they're going so fast. This card is super live against them, so it's always great to play it and pass to their turn because then next turn you start off with so much memory and you can just use that to just heal up and basically get your security back up to 5, which is really nice. Yeah, but that's the whole deck. This deck actually performed way better than I expected, honestly, because in watching a lot of other people play Yellow Hybrid the last few weeks, I've noticed the deck has been tying a lot. I don't know if that's just how the deck is. I mean, Yellow Hybrid was known for getting ties a lot, but the thing is that I feel like once you hit like maybe like turn 7 or 8, you should be like trying to swing for game at that point because you should have at that point been able to remove most of your opponent's board to the point where they don't have enough resources to come back. So you should be able to just start, basically start swinging. That's why I honestly run the Yellow War Greymon because he helps basically in late game to just start swinging because with both the matches, I was just kind of doing like 1 or 2 attacks, maybe like turn 3 and 4, because I didn't want to risk giving them like say another Tamer, because a lot of decks are still running at least 4 to 5 Tamers, so you don't want to give them that extra power. So I basically just wait until late game. Maybe I like hit maybe 1 attack and hope they don't die. But with War Greymon, this gives you the aggression to just kind of push through. I feel like this card actually does help a lot with that. Not that many builds I've been seeing have been running this. They've mainly been focusing on the healing aspect, so maybe that's the issue. But this deck has a lot of aggro. Like in the match with Armor Rush, I almost lost game 3 because we were going into time, but I managed to basically just like summon out an entire board of hybrids. I made like 4 hybrids and then I Susano'd 2, so I wiped his board and I had like what 8 security checks next turn. So this deck can push for aggression once you're set up. But the thing is that I feel like you have to do that at the right moment. And I feel like with yellow, it's like it takes too long to get to that right moment sometimes. So I feel that's why this card is honestly very crucial in the build right now. For anyone that's watching, I highly recommend trying this card out because it's just, I don't know, like even though it's from BT4, it's still very good. I mean, a lot of cards from BT1, 2, and 3 are still just as good too. But this one helps this deck kind of push forward a little bit more than just kind of healing and just hoping that you just don't swing into something that'll kill it. Because without this, your main like heavy hitter is this, so it's kind of weird. But yeah, I feel this deck can be really successful. It is one of the tier 1 decks. It does kind of struggle against full aggro. Like as I said, against Imperial, it's a very rough matchup if you don't set it up properly. But as long as you play tactical, you should be fine. Against Armor Rush, you really don't have an issue half the time. As long as you don't misplay like I did, you should be able to basically get the game no matter what. Against Mastamon, it's a little bit different. Mastamon takes a bit of time to set up, and so do you. But once you set up, they basically can't do anything either because you heal more than they do. They can only maybe heal 1 or 2 per turn, but you can heal up to 5 in 1 turn. I've been able to fully go back up my whole security without even trying. So I feel like against Mastemon, you have a pretty decent chance to outspeed them and beat them. You just have to kind of out attrition them. Once you get rid of at least two of their Mastemons, they kind of have to start like going into damage mode and just kind of like figure out how to get past things. And even with like one or two Lucemons, you have so many Tamers, it doesn't really matter because they're just killing a Tamer, but also giving you tons of memory at the same time. So it's kind of weird how they do their builds. So it's whatever. Against Black War Greymon is kind of a weird matchup because it has the ability to pop Tamers, but if you get out too many Tamers, it doesn't really matter, honestly, because a lot of the Tamers, especially in the ones that I'm using, all of them are 4 costs or at least 3 costs and higher. So no matter what, you're basically, they're only going to maybe be able to pop maybe 1 or at least 2 max. But the thing is that if you set up correctly, you should have at least like 3 to 4 Tamers no matter what, and then next turn you just kill their Black War Greymon, and they can't do anything about that. They don't really have a way to come back fast enough from having their Black War Greymon die, and this deck has so much removal at the moment that it's just really difficult for them to get past it. The only way they can really beat you half the time is if they have the old I think it's like the BT1 or BT2 War Greymon that lets you do a security check while negating options. That's literally the only counter they have to this deck. Aside from that, you just DP reduce them and they just die. And even if they give you too little memory, you just push up like a rookie and then you DP reduce their Black War Greymon who's like tapped at that point, and you just swing into them and you get to basically pop that punch through and kill them. So it's really nice. Um, Against every other deck, there's also the fact that Beelstar is starting to top again. I also play Beelstar, so I know the matchup. Beelstar is kind of weird, but it's still too slow to keep up with this deck. But the fact that it can on occasions is really busted. If you allow Beelstar to swarm the board and just swarm with blockers and other stuff, you actually might be in a really bad position if you haven't healed enough. If you've healed up to like maybe 8 or 9, you should be fine. But if you haven't and you're low on security, they can instantly clap you in like a second. So it's not really a good idea to kind of be slow with them. Against Beelstar, you have to be very aggressive and just start going in. This, as I mentioned, will help with that. So with that matchup, you should be fine as long as you keep the aggression on. Any other deck? I mean, if you encounter like maybe Shivamon, if Shivamon ever pops up, which is really rogue, maybe you might have an issue as he'll stop you from basically doing one turn, but then you can just like make War Greymon and just swing in and kill him. So it's not that big of an issue. Um, there's not really that many other tier 1 decks I can really think of, aside from maybe like the ones from the previous set with BT7, like Blue Hybrid and the other stuff. I mean, sure, they can wipe your stuff, but then it's like next turn you can just do it again and just kill them anyway. So it doesn't really matter. Especially with Rapidmon now, you can just DP reduce their whole board. Blue Hybrid has a really tough time against this now that we have DP reduction again, because almost every single one of their hybrids, especially the level 4s, are all 5,000, they're like 6,000 or less. So potentially, if you reduce them down, you can kill their Kumamons and other stuff, and then you can just swing and kill them and still do another DP reduction thanks to this and Cody. So you basically get to kill their whole board. Aside from that, there's not really that many other matchups I can think of, honestly. This deck actually can counter a lot of things, which is really nice. The only thing it loses is to full-on aggression, so maybe like red Ancient Greymon might be an issue. And as I mentioned, Black War Greymon does run that old War Greymon that checks for a lot and also can negate options. That's like the only bad thing. But at the same time, as long as you have a Kazemon or a Zephyrmon with the Zoe on board, you should be able to survive that attack because Black War Greymon can usually only go to like 14, maybe 15, and it can't get over like Susanoo. So with that boost, you're basically fine. Yeah, that's basically all the decks I can think of for the matchup. Anyway, yeah, thanks for watching the video. Let me know what you thought of this build. I always like to try and improve this build, and I want people to actually succeed with this deck too, because it is really cool seeing Rapidmon being used in this deck and seeing Yellow Hybrid finally kind of start doing stuff like it was supposed to do in BT7 instead of just being kind of in tier 1.5 or tier 2 because of the the freaking bans with the Mega Digimon Fusion and the limits of Reinforce. So it kind of sucks that it couldn't really show its full potential until now, but now it can. So I highly recommend trying it out. The Rapidmons might be a little bit pricey, so kind of see if you can trade for them. I honestly traded for all mines and pulled them. Thankfully, I only have like one alt art, but I do plan to max rarity this deck eventually. Jet Sylphie's still worth a bit, so still not really gonna pull that trigger until they drop. But anyway, yeah. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.